This is the story when Marilyn Monroe visited Korea and sang to over 100,000 troops after the Korean War. Monroe was invited by the general of the Korean War to entertain the troops and without hesitation said yes. Immediately when she left the plane, thousands of fans were everywhere and caused such a scene that hundreds of policemen were everywhere. And it's no surprise she's still considered the second most photographed person in existence. When Marilyn arrived, she waved from a tank used for war and was greeted by the troops. When she was backstage changing into her dress, the troops were throwing rocks and said they wanted to see Marilyn Monroe, so she rushed over to stage and performed in 30 degrees as it slowly snowed a bit in a spaghetti-strapped dress and wanted to impress the troops since they haven't seen a woman in so long, as all the troops were covered in layers of clothing.
The highlight of my life was singing for the souls there. I stood out on an open stage and it was cold, but I swear I didn't feel a thing except good.
Marilyn did 10 performances in 4 days, including at night. Marilyn donated and visited the injured troops. She signs her name on their casts. She gets to the floor just to say hi to an African-American troop who couldn't get up and said it was like seeing an angel with bright hair. Marilyn hugged the troops as this one gave her a kiss on the cheek. Marilyn served the troops food for their hard work and was fed cake by a troop. She was given a badge for her work and a cake. Marilyn blew kisses to her people before leaving and soon flew away in a helicopter. Marilyn said it was the first time she felt like a true star.
Monroe invades frozen Korea, and the GIs come a-runnin', vowing unconditional surrender. The screen star has come for a 4-day, 10-show tour of the front. Marilyn proves that there's nothing drab about GI's slacks and shirt, depending on how you look at it, as she heads for her first performance. 13,000 Marines whoop it up as a now glamorous Marilyn steps front and center, while MPs have their hands full. Having the time of her life, Marilyn wriggles her way into the hearts of the leathernecks. Coyly, she admits, I've never seen so many men in all my life. Fat boy, Marilyn must come and go, and Korea for the GIs can never be the same.
When a well-known honeymoon couple arrives at Tokyo Airport, a throng of 4,000 baseball and movie fans surge out of control, break through police lines. Joe DiMaggio and his bride smile bravely at their greeters, but they don't dare move. So back into the plane they go, while police clear a path to the cargo hatch with DiMaggio's convertible. The stratagem works. The former Yankee slugger and his picture bride escape into the car and head for the safety of their hotel. But their troubles aren't over. Next day comes a press conference where the public was barred, but the photographers and reporters more than made up for that. Their questions were rough, ranging from the risque to the ridiculous. And Joe, he's the forgotten man, which is something in Japan where baseball is so popular. Never underestimate the power of you-know-who. But enough's enough. His patience is exhausted, and Joe says, go.
Marilyn Monroe, the golden girl of Hollywood, leaves behind a glittering and tragic legend. Presentation to the Queen of England was but one climax in a life that began drearily as an unwanted child and ended in a lonely, self-inflicted death 36 years later. A queen in her own realm of entertainment, she was the only woman known the world over by her 2 initials. A tour of army bases in Korea in 1954 brought GIs the beauty and vivacity that made her an undisputed symbol in her time. As soldiers adored her, so did men wherever in the world her films were played, and that was everywhere. Yet for all the happiness this bubbling comedienne brought into the lives of millions, she was seldom able to find it lastingly for herself. Her second marriage to baseball hero Joe DiMaggio lasted less than a year, though he remained one of her most devoted and protective friends. Playwright Arthur Miller was her last husband and wrote her last completed film, but the marriage failed. Miss Monroe came often to New York, and whenever she made a personal appearance, her fans saw only the exuberant, carefree image she projected on the screen. Her appearances on movie sets or on location were not always so carefree. But whatever her personal and professional difficulties might have been, the world lost something radiant when Marilyn Monroe took her leave of it.
I never felt I had an effect on people until I guess I was in Korea. I don't think until then, really, because studios that I worked with always said, remember one thing, you're no star.